What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. There's a lot to look into here. It's insane because this whole conversation with PlayStation being, in quote, dominant in the market, that's fallen flat. But the truth is, most of us tried to actually say what the reality and the truth was, but it seemed like nobody would listen at the time. I remember getting called names like Xbot or, PlayStation hater. But for the most part, the greed that PlayStation had exuded is not necessarily surprising right now that they seem to be reaping the rewards, because their pivot and their strategy, in my opinion, was not transparent to gamers. It didn't seem like they were really interested in letting gamers know anything that was concrete. Rather, they preferred that perception would continue to drive their market position, but the perception could only drive it so much. In an economy like this, the reality is the cracks start to show, and then if at any point the cracks are not plugged or patched, you're going to see a colossal madness go on. Game Over 30 here on Twitter has been doing a lot of breakdown of analysis, and I'm sure everybody is now willing to listen now that the Sony's CEO has made some really interesting statements after the hacks, which many people closed their eyes to. I was quite surprised that a lot of people did not want to look at the hacks. They kept saying, well, the information can't be verified. Well, it's just, I'm like, guys, it's the only information that you're going to get. And now that the information even kind of gave us a prep work for what they're saying, seems like that was probably a little better for Sony. So Takashi Mochizuki is someone who's been following this, and they said something. They said, Sony COO, it's been 4 months since I became chairman of SIE. A big problem of SIE that I found is they don't necessarily have deep understanding of how their work is being translated to growth, generation of sustainable profits, and higher margins for the unit as a whole. Game Over 30 says, I've not looked over their transcript myself, but if this is accurate, this underscores everything I've been saying about Sony's margins, which is profitability, especially PlayStation, since they exited the pandemic boost. Again, I need to look over it myself. Also, I've said before, I don't know why Sony pushed out the fact that PlayStation hardware had become profitable so early. That has clearly flipped back over the line several times. I've been bookmarking a lot of what this gentleman has to say, and I gotta be honest with you, this whole conversation about the consoles, PlayStation consoles now being profitable, no longer being unprofitable, is really interesting. Why they came up with and how they came up with that conclusion. I think that's basically, in my opinion, something that they threw out there way too fast. Probably they were losing maybe less than they were on each console sale, and they decided that they were going to go ahead and put that in there. Game Over 30 also talks about the inflection point, where basically you could see that Sony's margins had stagnated. I have links about this, that I bookmark. If you want to go see all that, you can go and take a look on the internet, and it will open your eyes to exactly what's been going on. High price production of video games. And the crazy thing is Xbox hasn't necessarily engaged in this high price of video game production over the years. However, they've gotten the influx of money from Microsoft, which in reality, this $69 billion investment could burn for all they care. Microsoft just got so much cash that's been sitting around. I believe, in my opinion, that they brought this money in around 2017 into the country from offshore accounts when Congress and Trump went ahead to give a discount. That's what I call it. They gave a reduced tax fee for corporations who wanted to bring money from outside of the country. This was supposed to be some kind of economic stimulus, and Microsoft took advantage of it. Apple did not. I think this is one of the reasons Apple is not necessarily in a cash position to have made a big buy recently, because the risk is actually there. It's not like they could not have made one. They just don't want to access the cash that they have on hand or go outside and go get money and eat a huge tax bill. If not, you might have seen Apple try to make a play for like EA or possibly some other corporation or whatever it is in the gaming space and kind of leapfrog to try to match with Microsoft or continue to stay ahead of them. But this reality brings Xbox to an interesting light. Apparently, Xbox is not crazy. They have a strategy that they think is sound and sound enough to be able to execute and basically start bringing their games to more platforms. And apparently I don't sound crazy either, because like I said, and I always have said, software sales rule. They win the entire conversation. You cannot necessarily throw away that, particular loss on, consoles compared to the gain that you will actually pretty much realize if you sell your software wherever the heck you sell it. I mean, look at this article. Microsoft Xbox loses up to $200 on every Xbox console sold. This article has always continued to strike me as a remarkable reality that everyone seemed to forget. And to the Xbox fan base out there that has been on Twitter, you guys really did expose yourselves as people who were only concerned about winning console points rather than the overall health of the ecosystem that you actually claim to support. To those on the PlayStation side, most of you pretty much put yourself in a position where you dismissed everybody that had been showing you the warning signs because you were deluded to think that somehow the flashy, pretty games that you were seeing on PlayStation's console translated to the company itself gaining or winning in the most important metric that it needed to be in, which was growth. So when you think about this math, $200 on every Xbox console sold loss compared to about $50 after fees are paid gained if they were to sell their software, I don't think anybody in their right minds will be contesting Xbox taking its games to refrigerators, freaking Nintendo Switch, or even Sony's PlayStation if they thought that would be profitable for them, especially when, if you kind of also register what's going on, they just acquired two major publishers who have access to PlayStation hardware and PlayStation technology, and they can easily run some tests to see if their games are going to be viable from a technical sense on those platforms, and then eventually shoot for the release. So this is a very interesting market change that we're seeing, and I am very happy to see how this is unfolding and see the reality and see these companies have to sit with their investors, not their gamers and not their customers, because for the customers, many are used to this, sweetened, baby food. They don't give them the real meat and potatoes of what's going on, but the investors, they're beholden to them. So they have to actually say what the reality is. Thankfully, we've now bridged the gap where investor, talk and investor, earnings calls have made their way into the conversation. So the meat and the potatoes are going to bleed into the ears of those who have, for the most part, said la 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 la. PlayStation's not going to bring their games they want to PC, la 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 la. Now everybody wants to pay attention because this is reality. Truth is a little stranger than fiction. I've seen how everyone has been cold on Twitter. I don't see these Twitter accounts. Everybody is relaxed. Even the Xbox side. And I'm throwing this shade at everybody. The shade is equally going to all parties involved. I see even the Xbox people saying, ooh, I'm so relieved because anything that Xbox says now in their business meeting tomorrow is going to land, in my mind, in a better way. When in reality, guys, this has always been the position that Xbox has maintained. They've always been ahead. That's why they're ahead in terms of making money as a corporation from their other, lines of business. Sony has other lines of business and it's not doing as well as Microsoft is. So there has to be something that is said for the business strategies that's going on. And if you truly say you're a fan of these ecosystems, and then you should be looking towards the health of the ecosystems. And you know that exclusivity is basically the slow death of the gaming industry. It's always been. Software has not been ubiquitous enough, has not been able to flow through and across the bridges of console barriers. And so there's always going to be that disparity. And you are not Nintendo. I know someone's going to cite Nintendo. Even their days are numbered, as the young people who have always enjoyed the Nintendo games are starting to talk about 200 FPS on their Fortnite games. I work with young people. All they talk about is how many FPS you play Fortnite. Many of them are aspiring to get themselves a gaming PC once this console generation is dead. Do you think that the Nexi or Nexus of this particular console stagnation is only in one demographics? It's on different levels of multiple demographics. So I have more to say about this stuff. Man, it's going to be so interesting these next few days. And I'm really looking forward to seeing people kind of come to the reality. And it's fine because this is where I've wanted us to be for the last, year, 2 years, 3 years. But let me hear your thoughts in the comment section about all of this. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. And hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.